Greetings and welcome to yet another video lesson. This time it's on Unreal Conditionals, and I'm your host Israr Ahmed Khan. So here we go. Conditionals show an action is reliant on something else, talk about real or unreal situations, sometimes called if clauses also. Real conditional describes real life situations, and unreal conditional describes unreal imaginary situations. Conditional sentences are composed of two parts, if clause plus main clause. If it rains tomorrow, we will put on raincoats. The order of the two clauses is flexible. I'll stay at home if it rains. If it rains, I'll stay at home. So you can exchange the word position. There are two types of unreal conditionals. Second conditional, that describes hypothetical situations. If plus past plus would plus infinitive. If I won the lottery, I would see the world. Then we have third conditional, which talks about impossible things. If plus past perfect plus would have plus past participle. If I had studied, I would have passed. Second, let's talk about second conditionals, which speaks about hypothetical situations. It is used to talk about unreal or impossible situation in present or future. These structures are used to imagine what it would be like if things were different. Examples: if I were rich, I would travel around the world. If I had a car, I could drive you home. This is a slide of possible sentence structures in the second conditional. Number one, if plus simple past plus would plus infinitive. If I were the president, I would end unemployment. If I won the lottery, I would buy a Ferrari. If I were you, I'd start packing now. Then structures number two. If plus simple past plus might plus infinitive. The result of the condition would be just a possibility. If you drove with drowsy head, you might have an accident. If you were not so selfish, you might be happier. Another slide with possible sentence structures. If plus simple past plus could plus infinitive. The meaning of could here is would be able to. If I had another $1,000, I could buy the latest model of this car. I could pass my CSS exam if I had another month for preparation. Then number four, if plus were to plus would plus infinitive. This makes a future possibility sound less probable. If World War were to break out, I would immigrate to Mars. Then we have practice. If you leave your job, you travel around the world. If you could leave your job, or if you left your job, you could travel around the world. If you be nicer to him, he lend you the money. If you were nicer to him, he would lend you the money. It'd be nice if the rain stopped. It would be nice if the rain stopped. Then we have an exercise. Answer the following questions with second conditional sentences. What cities or other places of interest would you visit if you went to America? Number two, what would you do or not do if you could live your life over again? Number three, what famous person would you like to meet if you had the chance? So with this, we come to the third conditional. Third conditional, it is used to talk about conditions which didn't happen in the past, and so the result didn't happen either. It is used for speculating about past events. For example, if you hadn't been lazy, you would have been on time for the audition. Another example, if he had come earlier, he could have had a free lunch. Then these are the possible sentence structures. Number one, if plus past perfect plus perfect conditional. If he had studied, he would have passed. Number two, if plus past perfect plus might have. If someone had heard the SOS, their lives might have been saved. Number three, if plus past perfect plus could have. Here, could have been means able to. If my parents had not been poor, I could have gone to university. Then there's this practice. Complete these sentences. Number one, he crashed his car because he fell asleep while driving. If he hadn't fallen asleep while driving, he wouldn't have crashed his car. Number two, we couldn't go to the concert because we didn't have enough money. If we had had enough money, we would have gone to the concert. Number three, I lost my job because I was late for work. I wouldn't have lost my job if I had not been late for work. Number four, the wind was so strong that the bridge collapsed. If the wind hadn't been so strong, the bridge wouldn't have collapsed. Number five, I couldn't call Sally because I had lost her number. I would have called Sally if I hadn't lost her number. Then we have, finally, we have an exercise. Um yes, make third conditional sentences based on information provided in given sentences. Number one, nobody told me about your birthday, so I asked you to have an official tour out of city. Meaning, if somebody had told me about your birthday, I wouldn't have asked you to have an official tour out of city. There was no chance of rescuing survivors, and so they called off the search. They wouldn't have called off the search if there had been any chance of rescuing survivors. Number three, Ali was suddenly taken ill, and so he and his family did not go on holiday to Europe. If Ali hadn't been taken ill, he and his family would have gone on holiday to Europe. And this is the last slide. There are other words which are also used for showing conditions. For example, provided or providing, supposing, as long as, on condition that. So here are the examples. Number one, supposing you fell into a water pool on a winter morning, what would you do? Number two, you can borrow my bike provided or providing you bring it back. Number three, I'll give you the day off on condition that you work on Saturday morning. Number four, you are welcome to stay with us as long as you share the rent. So, with this, we come to the end of today's lesson. I thank you all for watching this, and it's goodbye from Israr Ahmed Khan of English Essentials with IAK. So, see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.